4 George Medals, 3 Air Force Crosses, 7 Queen's Gallantry Medals, 8,000 scrambles, and 11,000 lives saved. Today, the heroes behind many of those acts of bravery stood as 771 Naval Air Squadron was decommissioned.
It's a very significant day. It marks the end of a 40-year squadron history and one of the most successful operational squadrons that the Navy has. We've been doing search and rescue operations, throughout the year for all of those 40 years, and we've rescued countless people. And that has now ended. It is now the end of military search and rescue. So the squadron has to disband, and today is that day.
Military search and rescue was privatised last year as Bristow's took on the new contract.
Decommissioned 771 Naval.
The white ensign was lowered for the last time.
But one thing is for sure, the ace of clubs will forever live on.
It's mixed emotions. People are ready to move on. They know where they're moving on to. They're not being kicked out of the Navy. They've got jobs in the Navy. But it is the end of something that's been very personally satisfying and rewarding. When you're saving lives, it does affect people, and people do get emotional. And this is a sort of culmination of all of that. So it's very mixed emotions.
The ceremony was also an opportunity to thank the squadron's families for their unwavered support.
Incredibly proud. Words can't say, but it's quite weird sometimes when particularly if they've done a night mission, and he'll come back and we'll just be having breakfast and he walks in and tells us, what he's been doing overnight, and it's hard to even comprehend. But yeah, incredibly proud. I think it's particularly when, it's at night and the weather's bad. It's very difficult to understand what he's going through. And difficult to explain it to the children as well.
Since December, when Bristow's took over the Southwest responsibility, 771 has remained on standby should they be needed to carry out any rescues. But today, the men and women were finally stood down.
I just like to see happy faces when we've recovered somebody. I like to think of all my colleagues that I've worked with and the memories and the crew room banter. I think that will live with me forever, actually.
Well, you may notice this aircraft is looking particularly shiny, and that's because it's got a future ahead of it. Aircraft number 27 is going to be the new gate guardian on the hospital roundabouts, the first time a search and rescue aircraft has had the honour. Those pilots, aircrew and engineers staying in the Navy will be found jobs elsewhere in the Fleet Air Arm. Most likely, many of them will convert to flying the Merlin. Rebecca Ricks, Forces News at RNS Coldrose.